Hey, welcome to Diva Dialogue, everybody. It's no intro music because I can't find it. Wow, things disappear on my computer. I don't know how, I don't know why, but they do. I'm not even sure I can hear myself in my headphones right now. But I know that it's recording, so I'm just going to keep going. My friend is here with me today, and she's experiencing kind of the same thing. It's like we're in the black hole of life right now, and it's weird. I would like you to meet my good friend, Mariah McLean. Welcome to Diva Dialogue, Mariah.
Hello. Thank you very much. Hey, we're just in a different dimension. Don't worry. I'm sure we'll slip back out of it anytime soon.
When? I can't take it. I'm so discombobulated. It's so weird. So we've been going through some weird stuff, but first I would like you to introduce yourself and tell people why you're here today.
Okay. I'm Mariah, and I have been around for a long time, and my business name is Wind Dancer.
I love
Wind Dancer
that.
Training, and that name started years ago when a friend of mine and myself decided to teach interpersonal communications, which actually led us to many other things like Reiki and imagery and healing and, tapping and, many, many different pieces of technique that help people to raise their vibrational level. So that's actually what we're going to be talking about today is vibration and frequency. A lot of people are going through many kinds of stressors. Our world itself, our Earth, is extremely stressed at this point in time. So my classes right now are focusing a lot on raising that vibrational level. Now, the other truth is that change brings a lot of chaos. And so change is definitely prevalent in our day-to-day world as we speak and our international world. So if you're experiencing a fair amount of chaos and discombobulation, don't panic too much. It is part of the process that is going on, although I know it's not comfortable.
It's a little frustrating, actually.
Well, it is. I mean, I feel like I already did that, and it's not done. I don't get it.
Right. Well,
yeah.
That's the thing, you think that you've learned lessons. I really do fool myself into thinking that. But there's so many new ones to learn that it's like, but that's good. I mean, it's good, but wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It is good. But you know what? It's really exhausting too. So if you're in that boat and you feel a lot of stressors coming into you and you feel chaos and things just aren't what you thought they would be, first of all, just take a few deep breaths so that your brain can get kicking in some of those chemicals that help calm us down and feel happier and have hope, and realize that, boy, are you not alone, that we are in the company at a worldwide level of many changes. And I'm going to read the Devolution mantra. Be real, stand true, know who you are and what you believe, for you are the devolution, and we are evolving. So that's the subject today. Vibration, frequency, and its relationship to evolution and happiness. That's my story.
And happiness. That's important, isn't it?
Happiness.
Did you by any chance tune into that 21-day meditation Deepak and Oprah were doing?
Yes, I go to sleep to it.
Oh, good. It was something that
plays all night.
Good. That's fine. The subconscious can hear
Yes.
that stuff. It doesn't hurt.
Absolutely.
It's better than a lot of stuff. But it's so rich in content that it just amazes me. And it's funny because, well, it's not funny. It's obvious. It's right when you need to hear something that it comes out. And I'm a big gratitude person. I I believe that we need to be grateful all the time because it does raise our vibration, number
It
one.
does. That's huge. We proved that.
Yes.
Yes, we
And
did.
we're going to talk about how we proved it in
Yes,
just a
we
second.
are.
And secondly, it allows you to receive more.
Yes, it does. Hey, everybody likes to give people who appreciate what they get. So, the universe, creator, is the same way. It's not like it's a reward because you're a better person. It's because it's fun to give to people who really get it.
Right. Yes. It's something, one of my big aha moments in this past 21 days was when Deepak Chopra said, Father, God, and Mother Universe. Oh my God, I loved that so much. It really changed the way that I pray, the way that I meditate now, because I believe in the power of both.
Absolutely. Because
And what a good way to
it's
look
the
at it.
polarity. It's the yin and yang. It's the balance that really nothing exists without those balances of feminine and masculine. Because one is the receiver, the feminine, and one is the charger, the one that puts it into action, the energy that puts it into action. And how do you have one without the other?
Right.
You just don't.
Right. And Mother Earth is such a big nurturer. I mean, it's where we get our food, and how we ground ourselves, and where we walk. And I mean, it just put everything in such a different light for me. I loved it. Did you have a special moment in that whole thing that you?
Well, I don't know. They all seem like special moments at the time. That's for sure. But
Every day it was so rich.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day. I mean, meditation is the key to starting your process to evolution because it allows our brain to relax. It activates our creative abilities. It attunes us to spirit, and so that we can give and we can receive. And that's the masculine and the feminine. So, it's just everything in that positive realm is an aha, because every time I hear something good, something beautiful, even if I've heard it 100 times before, I hear something new in that. So we really can't repeat good things enough. It's okay.
Or it strikes a different chord where you are in your life now, no matter how many. Yes.
Absolutely.
It's so fascinating. So how did we prove?
Okay, well, one of the things we've been doing in the spiritual evolution group is we've been practicing different techniques that help raise vibrational levels. And one of the researchers that is just so interesting and powerful is Masaru Emoto. He's a Japanese man that has now passed, but he had some degrees in science and photography. So he was really started out as a photographer, and he became interested in water. And he started to get some ideas about the consciousness of water itself and began to find clean water, the cleanest he could find, and he would freeze it and then take pictures of those crystals. Well, what he began to find is that words affected the structure of those crystals. So then he invented this little experiment that we can all practice with and have fun with, and it's his rice experiment. And what you do is you take cooked rice and you put water over it, and you put it in a glass jar, and you make 3 of those, and then you decide what words you're going to give to those jars to see what happens to that rice or water. So we picked the words gratitude and love for one jar, and we picked hate for another jar, and we had nothing for the third jar. But what we did for the third jar, which Emoto did not do, at least in the experiments I've seen, is we isolated it. So our isolated jar actually was different than some of his outcomes. And we put each of the other jars in different rooms, although they were still fairly close to each other. And then for probably 6 weeks at least, we talked to those darn jars. And we had other people who came through talk to those jars. And the love jar was hysterical because it had people had put little buttons on the top, probably Deb, little ribbons, they had little pieces of candy next to the jar, it was
well,
like,
we loved it.
It was a clearly loved jar of rice. And we would say loving things and tell it was loved and all those things. Now, the hate jar was tougher because we were having a hard time saying out loud hateful things. But we managed. And I decided I couldn't do hate about a person or about the jar itself. I just couldn't do it. So I picked hating certain conditions in the world, like kids being hungry and war and stuff like that. Just, let that jar have it, representing those conditions. And the isolated jar literally never hurt. It was in a kind of a big closet all by itself. So nothing happened to that one. And when we took it out, there were distinct differences. The love jar actually looked like you could put a spoon in there and eat the rice.
Right.
I mean, it was just
It
so
was
weird.
pretty. It was
pretty.
And it had that just little tiny piece of red mold, like the color of a really nice red lipstick.
Yes. Kind of circling around the edge of the water. And the water was almost clear, but not quite. It was just a titch. I don't know. It was pretty. It was kind of almost yellowish, but not really yellow. But it did not have clumps of ugly mold. And the hate jar was as ugly as the son of a gun. I mean, it had green and black and gross mold, a good 1.5 to 2 inches thick on the top of the rice. And most of the water was absorbed. I don't think there was much water left in there. So clearly that rice was not liking the verbal treatment that it was getting. Now the interesting thing, and this was different than Emoto's outcome, who had the jar, his nothing jar, next to the other jars. Our jar, nothing happened. There was nothing that grew. No mold, no pretty stuff. It was almost unchanged. I mean, didn't
just
it seem
the
like
water
that?
was just a little cloudy.
Right, it was that.
Like
right.
milky.
The water was.
It wasn't yellow.
No.
It was white cloudy. And that was such a shock when we took that down, wasn't it? Because the one that we hated was so absolutely gross.
It was so absolutely gross. I mean, absolutely gross. In fact, Deb threw the whole jar out.
Oh, I couldn't.
She
even
wasn't going to wash
stand
that jar.
No way.
So, clear. I mean, and this experiment has been repeated in so many ways by so many people. And even though it's not all registered which words do which and what all the various factors are, clearly substance responds to words. So it adds to the research around how words affect the human mind. And our bodies are 80% water. So
how could it not affect us?
Right.
In some similar fashion.
Exactly. So for me, what it did was register, even though I'm certainly not perfect in this at all, struggling with it, day by day like everybody else, as I realized that we cannot, nor can our world, really sustain itself in a positive way with any negative words. Mm-hmm. I mean, we really have to have zero tolerance. We have to have a zero tolerance policy.
And that includes the words that we say to others.
Yep.
And also, more importantly, probably, are the words we say to ourselves.
That's for sure. And, we have a huge volume as people of negative words encoded in our preconscious mind and our subconscious mind. So there's a heck of a lot of words flowing through our brain that we don't realize are happening, or we might kind of hear it consciously, but not fully consciously. So we have to start by, first of all, developing positive words that we want to use and taking our affirmations really seriously and being vigilant about it. but also to start listening to that subliminal message that comes through in our mind that is saying certain words that are negative.